Nobody likes oil leaks, especially on our really sweet Mercury Tracer LTS. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project Tracer Rounds. And that is our 1994 Mercury Tracer LTS with a manual that we're bringing back to full glory. So in this episode, we're gonna focus on oil leaks. Guaranteed, if you're finding one of these cars, even if it was well maintained, there's still probably some kind of leak going on, and it's usually oil. Now, oil leaks can run the gambit from very casual, very common, not a big deal, to quite expensive and quite intensive. So we're hoping, and everything has led me to believe, based on my inspection, that this one behind me is just simple, fixed stuff. So we're gonna go over these common areas that you're probably gonna identify and find yourself if you're buying a car powered by this power plant, this 1.8 VP engine. We're gonna do the valve cover gasket. It's a very common item to replace, dries up over time, oil leaks out. I'm gonna show you some tricks on where to put RTV and the right way to replace your valve cover gasket. We're also gonna replace that cam sensor O-ring, which a lot of people don't know about. It gets left out usually, and when it leaks pretty significantly. So both of these can actually make a dramatic oil leak situation that is not that hard to remedy. So today in the Auto Obsessive Garage, we're gonna dive into this Tracer LTS engine. Again, same engine. If you have a Escort GT from the early 90s, if you have a Protege powered by this engine, or the 1.8 liter Miata, it's the exact same thing. So let's get in there, let's fix all these oil leaks and keep this thing from leaving its mark everywhere it hangs out. Let's get in the garage and get some work done. Let's start off by getting that valve cover off. Here's our replacement. We're going with a male unit. Pretty straightforward, easy to swap over, should work out nice. Remember also, we're gonna do the O-ring that's inside the cam angle sensor here. So you wanna definitely go ahead and mark your surfaces before you remove that, but we're gonna do the valve cover first. So we'll get him off. Just remember, you do have a couple hoses, your PCV, and the one that goes to your intake. It's kind of just a valve cover breather hose that goes into the intake. So extra vapor gets sucked back into the intake and back through the engine. So we're gonna go ahead and remove those two, pull our plug wires out. We'll leave the old plugs in for now. We're gonna do plugs and wires later. But let's go ahead and get this off. 10 millimeters at all of these bolts. Came off quite nicely. Ooh, good sight under there too. If we're looking under here, a general golden color is exactly what I'm wanting to see. Heck yeah, it looks really healthy. I'm not seeing any debris in here. I'm not seeing any like dark sludgy oil. The oil in there looks decent. I'm still gonna do an oil change, something I do on all my cars. But overall, look how good, 260,000 miles. This, again, this is a car that was driven, owned by the same family for 24 years. So maintenance was always performed. I got a big old stack of receipts. And that's the difference maker, guys. Mileage can kind of go out the window if you have great maintenance. And it's even basic maintenance, like oil changes, timing belt changes. This is it, guys. This is how you make an engine last forever. Super happy. I'm gonna clean up the sealing gasket area here, and might as well do this at the same time, get this cam angle sensor off, replace that O-ring. And here's our cam angle sensor with distributor on the back. So all we're gonna do is just have to pull these two 12s and the unit should slide off. Again, you can loosen these to help get it off a little easier. But let's go ahead and mark right now. We wanna use some kind of scribing tool, some kind of pick. I like to put a physical mark on the cam angle sensor. That's just to help me line it back up right. And then also on top of that, we need to, you'll see there's a little part we have to, like a rotator, like a rotor that you have to line up with the end of this camshaft, and you'll see that too. So let's just go ahead and make a mark. Right there. Right there.
scratch it in there. Sometimes you can use markers for this, but I'm always worried because I'm going to clean this up. I don't want the marker to kind of run off. Looks pretty good. And these you just need to loosen up. You don't need to fully remove. And it's going to give you a little more play when you go to slide that cam angle sensor out. Trust me on this one. There we go. That's the rotor part, if you guys can see that. Now this moves very freely, and it only goes, look at all this grime under here from where it's been leaking. Yeah, good times. So this lines up to your camshaft in a certain way only, so it can be a little bit trying going in, but we should be able to figure that out. You gotta make sure, if you're trying to put this back in and it's hitting your cam, that's why this thing needs to be oriented the way it came off the cam. You can look at the end of your cam when you have this off, and you can see the way it goes, so before you try to reinstall it, look at the cam and then line this bad boy up. Time to get this O-ring off though. Go easy, you don't want to mess up this too much. Sometimes I use a plastic tool, but if you're easy, this thing's gonna be hard as plastic is the problem. Yeah, that thing is old. These things don't get changed out enough, that's for sure. But once you have that oil coming down right here, that's your indicator that this guy has failed. Yeah, look at that, hard as plastic, that's insane. No wonder, look at that guys. Hear that? That's a rubber gasket. Whew. Let's clean that up a little bit. All right, so we're looking a lot better now. Did you guys know it was aluminum under there, not just oil debris from 30 years ago? So let's slide our new delicious O-ring on. Should be a nice tight fit and fit right in there like so. Perfect. Here comes the fun part, guys. Reinstalling this in a way that it goes right in. So I'm just kind of looking at the end of the cam. We're gonna do a little something like this. That was it. So it has to be exactly the right thing. I had it 180 like an idiot. So made that harder than I need to. Now we're using our etched in marks. So we keep the same kind of make sure the cam angle sensor aligns with that cam. Sweet, and now it's just tightening these down, putting those two 12 millimeters in, and we're good. We won't be leaking out of there like a sieve anymore. Perfect. All right, all tightened up, all cleaned up. Cam angle sensor, O-ring replaced. And we have our valve cover gasket. Removing it is pretty straightforward. It can, when they're kind of old, they can be a little crusty. This one is definitely feeling a little crusty. That's why it was leaking. You can tell. Rubber just hardens over time. It's been a while since I guess it's been done. So coming up pretty good though. Not bad. Now what you're gonna look for too is garbage. Make sure there's no debris. Sometimes there's debris in these spark plug circles, and that can cause oil to come up past them and get into your spark plug wells, which is never ideal. So yeah, let's go ahead. This looks pretty good. I don't think there's anything I need to. I might just touch up this. Just make sure, again, there's no debris. Sometimes you can get some crud down in these channels here where the new gasket's gonna go, and in which case it won't seal very well. So I think we're good just to drop another one right in there. Here's the new gasket. Let's go ahead and crack it open and put it in. It only goes one way, so kind of hard to mess that up, but challenge accepted, right? You want to check your gaskets because I've definitely seen ones with issues. They don't fit in right or they have a manufacturing defect, and you don't want to find that out when it's time to slap it back on and you're wanting to drive it. So this kind of goes right here. So far, so good. Make sure everything's pressed in there nice and easy. The other thing I'm going to do now that I have this gasket in place is flip this over and kind of scrub the other side while I have it off the car. Not a bad idea. Get her nice and clean. So that looks good. Gasket fits really well. Very snug. Okay, let's flip her over. And you can see that she needs some cleaning. So let's get in there and clean this up. I'm not even gonna take these off. I'm not going super crazy cleaning here, guys. Just a decent clean. Before we slam that valve cover back home, let's go ahead and use our RTV at the points we talked about and get this thing really sealed. All right. Now to begin tightening her down. Another tip, guys, don't go crazy tightening this thing down. Honestly, this is aluminum on aluminum. I don't think I need to tell you what happens if you over torque that. You will have a nice cracked leaking valve cover. And that's absolutely zero fun, so don't do it.